it's time for News Night. Let's bring you the headlines. Gemma is standing by. Gemma.
So tonight, too many judges, too little.
10 minutes, Ghanaians Benjamin Azamati and Abdul Rashid Saminu eye place in Commonwealth Games 100-meter final.
And on your say.
We'll tell you why a group of church instrumentalists seeking prayers for overseas travel found themselves playing a very different tune with your head pastor. Remember, you can be a part of the conversation and share your thoughts on all our stories on X with the hashtag Newsnight, or by text or voice notes via WhatsApp number 055 1111 997. Do keep them brief, straight to the point, and within 20 seconds.
These and more coming up shortly. Is raising two red flags about our justice system. The president of the Asogli traditional area and former president of the National House of Chiefs says the Supreme Court is expanding without a constitutional limit, and that opens the door for political manipulation. Speaking at the climax of the court's 150th anniversary in Accra, Togbe Afede argued that Ghana needs clear checks on how many judges can be appointed to the apex court.
As a nation, we all have to support in making the judiciary, therefore the Supreme Court, independent and strong. One way to do it is to look or take a second look at the way we appoint our justices. From the beginning, they are made to be impartial. And also, the absence of an upper limit to a number, or the total number of Supreme Court judges, that allows adding, satisfy political objectives.
He also warned that justice is becoming too expensive, locking ordinary Ghanaians out of the courts.
In looking at our future, we have to admit that there are still a lot of financial barriers to justice delivery. Justice is not a service freely available to all. It is a lucrative business in the hands of a lucrative profession. This is a statement often attributed to Justice Hargreaves. But that is true. The legal profession is a very profit-oriented profession, and not all can afford the legal services.
My colleague Fatal Bayaga was at the event and now joins me in studio with more. Fatal, the Vice President, Professor Jainano Pokwajaman, was also at the event. What did she say?
Gemma, she said the government is carefully considering the recommendations of the Constitution Review Committee and will issue a white paper to demonstrate its openness and commitment to the nation. In fact, she doesn't tell us exactly when this will be done, but she said that the government will definitely issue a white paper.
I'm pleased to state that government is carefully considering the committee's recommendations, and in keeping with our commitment to openness and constitutional governance, will issue a position paper setting out government's considered position. We approach that process in a spirit of partnership.
Also, the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayene, spoke about the relationship between the AG's office and the judiciary. Tell us more.
Gemma, she said that there's the need for a continuous and seamless relationship between the judiciary and his office to ensure the efficient delivery of justice.
The relationship between the Attorney General's department and the judiciary is and must always be a fraternal one. Not because we always agree, for we do not and should not, but because we are bound by a common inheritance, that is the adherence to the rule of law and fidelity to the Constitution of our Republic. Where we of the Attorney General's chambers appear before your lordships, we appear not as adversaries seeking victory.
Before you go, the Chief Justice Paul Bafo-Boni touched on efforts to modernize justice delivery. What exactly do they intend to do?
Gemma, he disclosed that technology remains an important part of modern society and announced that beginning in October, the court will accept electronic filing and introduce other measures aimed at expediting justice delivery. So basically, he said that you will now, sit at the comfort of your home and then you file your motions or application and not have to travel to the court. You can listen to him.
judiciary formally ushers in a new era through the implementation of electronic filing, electronic authentication, and electronic service of court processes as the new norm for the administration of justice in Ghana, starting from 1st October this year. Again, beginning in October, when the legal year starts, we commence automation of the courts across the country, starting with the Supreme Court, to be followed by the Court of Appeal and the High Courts.
So you had Chief Justice Paul Bafo Boni ending that report by my colleague Fatau Bayaga. Moving on, chaos in Wichao in the West District today after police fired and injured at least 3 individuals in a bid to disperse mourners and angry youth protesting the death of a local youth leader who died in police custody just 2 days after his arrest. Residents suspect Abu Tijani died from injuries he allegedly sustained during his arrest. But in a statement, the police say Tijani was a key suspect in the murder of 2 youths in November last year. They say he had previously escaped arrest, was rearrested on Saturday, during which 2 officers were injured and later fell ill while assisting investigators before dying at a hospital. My colleague Michael Ashali joins me in studio with details of the statement by the police. Michael, first, who exactly was Abu Tijani and why were the police looking for him?
So, according to a police statement, Abu Tijani, also known as Master One, was a key suspect in the murder and disappearance of 2 youth in Kandi on November 23, 2025. They say he had been on their wanted list after escaping arrest on May 11, 2026, and had gone into hiding despite a request through the paramount chief of Wichao for him to report to assist with investigations. Police say he was rearrested on Saturday, July 25, during which he allegedly struggled with officers and injured 2 policemen before being overpowered.
Now, the statement also talks about the missing bodies. What did the investigators say Tijani told them?
So, according to that statement, police say during interrogation, Tijani admitted his involvement in the case and disclosed that the 2 victims were first buried at a location in Wichao. He allegedly told investigators the bodies were later exhumed and secretly reburied across the Black Volta River in Burkina Faso to avoid detection. Police say he even led investigators to the original burial site, but after digging, they found no human remains because, according to him, the bodies had already been moved.
Now, what explanation have the police been giving about how Abu Tijani died?
Well, the police say after returning to work, Tijani was helping investigators locate one of the alleged accomplices when he suddenly complained of a severe headache while in the police vehicle. The SEAL officers immediately abandoned the operation and rushed him to the SDA hospital in Wa, where he was admitted at about 1 p.m. Despite treatment, he was pronounced dead at 4:37 p.m. And police say his body has been deposited at the Upper West Regional Hospital morgue for preservation and an autopsy, while the Police Professional Standards Bureau has begun investigation into the circumstances surrounding his death.
So now there were disturbances in Wichao earlier today with reports of police firing at aggrieved residents. Does the police statement address that incident as well?
Well, in this particular statement, no, it does not. The statement is silent on the reported confrontation in Wichao today. It makes no mention of officers visiting the community or the reported shooting involving mourners and angry youth. Instead, it focuses on the circumstances surrounding Tijani's arrest, the murder investigation, his death in the hospital, and efforts to rebrief the paramount chief through a delegation. In the last couple of minutes, we have been hearing from the Ghana Police Service.
Well, the Upper West Regional Police Commander DCOP Francis Yiribari, in an interview, explained that the police did no wrong. He says Abu Tijani was sent to the hospital immediately he complained of headache. We can listen to him now.
As we returned with him to WA for further investigations, he opted to lead us further to one of his accomplices around the Nakori area in Wat Township. While on the way going, he complained of headache, and that prompted the police team to halt, indeed abandon the mission of that operation and to transport him immediately to the nearest health facility. That happened to be the SDA clinic. He was admitted, and unfortunately, after some hours, he passed, despite a lot of efforts by the medical authorities at that clinic. We have anticipated some disturbances in the place. We have conveyed this message to the Paramount Chief through a 3-member delegation.
On the shooting in the community earlier today, DCOP Francis Yubari says personnel from the police responded to calls from the community about a group of irate youth who had already set ablaze the house of someone in the community. Unfortunately,
some youth along the line decided to take the law into their own hands. They set ablaze a house perceived to be owned by one of the residents or natives of Wuchao, having close association with the police. Police and the military also paved the way by roadblocks that were mounted by the youth. They bent tires, but all that we were able to control that, and the youth have since retreated. The police have visited some 2 young men that were reported to have been injured. We are open to any clarifications anybody who wants. Investigations are already ongoing. We are to conduct, the hospital will conduct autopsy on the body, and the true cause of his death will be duly established.
Well, the Secretary of the Wichao Paramount Chief, Abdullahi Ishahaku, is also calling for justice.
We, for some time now, the West District, let me say, the Wichao traditional area, there have been some few disturbances in 2 communities, the Kandel and the Tuolu. There was a misunderstanding where the Kandel now passed on, and some 2 guys were passing through the community, and allegedly they said they were murdered, and the police are still doing their investigation to follow that. And per the investigation, they are doing many arrests, like they will come and arrest someone, go and investigate, leave the person to come and all that. Just on the 25th of this month, that was the Saturday, they arrested one of the youth leaders.
Let's take you to other stories. The minority in Parliament is doubling down on its claim that Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen's tight control over government spending is largely responsible for the relative improvement in Ghana's economic indicators. The Finance Minister presented the mid-year budget review to Parliament last Thursday, with MPs now debating the government's performance and the measures outlined in the statement. But minority spokesperson on the Economy Committee, Kojo Opon Nkrumah, is accusing government of prioritizing impressive fiscal numbers over the investments needed to drive real economic growth. He argues that while government may be succeeding in keeping expenditure under control and improving key indicators, the approach is coming at a cost to productive sectors of the economy.
In fact, what has happened for the first time is that this is the first time a finance minister has presented the mid-year review and has not been able to tell the country how much of the economic program has been executed and how much has not been executed. And I could hear some of my colleagues on the other side laboring under the argument that they want to prove that some spending is going on. Mr. Speaker, let me ask them to go to Appendix 2A. It's in the document that you have. And in Appendix 2A, you will find out, Mr. Speaker, that this government, this minister, made promises of projects, jobs, and programs to the tune of 30 billion Ghana cedis, which it has not executed as at half year. As at half year, they have under-executed the budget. The reason for which many of you don't have projects going on in your constituency. And it was baffling to hear the finance minister then go on Joy News to argue that he is not spending as much as he programmed to spend because the MPP signed up with the IMF on a 1.5% primary balance. That's laughable because that 1.5% primary balance is supposed to be achieved after you have executed your economic policy.
That's Kojo Nkrumah there. He's the ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee in Parliament. But we've also been hearing from a member of the Finance Committee and MP for Sanerigu, Appiah, who has rejected the minority's argument, insisting the available data does not support claims that government is simply sitting on resources or deliberately underspending.
I will preface my submission on debunking only one thing. The minority always keep referencing Atuforcing is not spending, Atuforcing is not spending, and Atuforcing is not generating revenue. Mr. Speaker, I have the fiscal performance of Ghana from 2017 to 2026. Let's look at revenue. Mr. Speaker, 2017, I will grant MPP that their best years were 2017, 2018, and 2019. Because after that, anything you tell them, they will say it's COVID. So let's narrow it down to their best performance. Mr. Speaker, in 2017, they budgeted to raise 44.96 billion. They ended up by getting 41.25 billion, making a net unrealized revenue of 3.71 billion. In 2018, they budgeted to raise 49.40 billion. They ended up by getting 46.81 billion, losing about 2.59 billion. In 2019, they budgeted to raise 58.91 billion. They only had 54.56 billion, making a loss of 4.34 billion. These are your best results in your best years. But Mr. Speaker, the same finance minister they say he's not spending, in 2025, he budgeted to raise 229.95 billion. He had 226.49 billion.
Well, the former Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Appiah Sayasari, also returned to the issue of government spending, and this were her arguments.
And for me, an MP from Etiwa East, where we have the Osino Enyinem Konongo bypass, you not spending on capital expenditure means I am not getting the roads completed. And that is a sad story. So if government comes to say that I'm living within my means, but is not spending in the right places, Mr. Speaker, economic activity is not flourishing, and it will not help develop the economy. We are stifling growth by not spending in the right places. Mr. Speaker, again, what I hear the minister talk about is the fact that, yes, they have given money to the assemblies, but have you checked the Auditor General's reports? That all the 3 billion, the minister increased allocations to the judicial assemblies to the tune of 3 billion. But have you checked the infractions? That has also escalated. So you don't just give the monies, but you also strengthen internal controls. Go and check, Mr. Speaker, the infractions increased from 18 million to 134 million in 2025. So that is what we should check. Spend in the right places and make sure the internal controls are strong.
That's our former Deputy Finance Minister, Appiah Sayasari there. Let's still stay in the House of Legislature and speak to our resident correspondent, Kweku Asante, who was there and witnessed proceedings. Kweku, we also had a response from the majority concerning what Appiah Sayasari said. What did they say?
Well, the big part of the majority's argument is that the Ghanaian people are receiving this economy well, and that as far as they are concerned, a good exchange rate and all the indicators, inflation looking in the right direction is something that the Ghanaian people are very proud of. So MP for Evaluate Jura Jomoro, Kofi Akonukui, says that is what is important to Ghanaians, and they see the impact of the work that Dr. Atuforcing and the president are doing on the economy, and the minority's claims are simply baseless.
Mr. Speaker, even before the finance minister came here, some of us took the trouble to go into the market, to go visit the market to find out the realities. And Mr. Speaker, I can report to you that, Mr. Speaker, a bag of Gino rice that used to sell at 850 Ghana cedis in 2024, Mr. Speaker, is now 550 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, a bag of Cindy rice, a 50 kg of Cindy rice, that used to sell in 2024 for 1,500 Ghana cedis, as at now, Mr. Speaker, is selling for 650 Ghana cedis. And Mr. Speaker, sugar, a 50 kg bag of sugar that used to sell at 870 Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker, in Agbogbomefia, my hometown, Mr. Speaker, is selling at 470 cedis. So some of us, Mr. Speaker, we're not surprised at all.
You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and our numerous affiliates across the country. Remember, you can also be a part of the show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Share your thoughts with us with the stories we've been sharing with you so far. You can also send a voice note. Let it be as brief as possible, maximum 30 seconds. Let's do business. George is here with the latest. George?
Well, Kenneth, coming up, IMF upgrades Ghana's debt risk rating to moderate in latest sustainability report as it expects government of Ghana to finalize restructuring engagement with external creditors soon. And Bank of Ghana promises to enforce in-depth laws to help boost trust and integrity of financial technology platforms in the country. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. Welcome back to business on Newsnight. Now, Ghana has been moved from high risk of debt distress country to moderate. This was after the IMF staff finalized their assessment on the country's debt sustainability analysis. There is more in the following report.
To move Ghana to this status was based on careful analysis of the country's debt status and the steps that the country has taken to honor its debt obligations. Critical among them is the progress that has been made when it comes to restructuring of the country's external debt, which the fund says it is nearing completion. So, for some, this could mean that Ghana is now in the position to pay its debt on time due to the corrective measures that has been implemented under the IMF program over the past 3 years. The development could immediately impact on Ghana's credit ratings with a possible upgrade in the coming months. It could also impact on cost of current loans that Government of Ghana is currently servicing. The benefits of this could trickle down to other public and private institutions in the country, especially when it comes to borrowing on the international market. The IMF believes that this progress in the debt numbers will create the needed space to borrow for critical projects and pressing development needs, especially in the area of social spending. But the International Monetary Fund was quick to add that these favorable forecasts will be dependent on improving domestic revenue collections, as well as improving public financial management and enhancing state-owned enterprise oversight, particularly in the energy and cocoa sectors.
And that is a business text report. Now, government has strongly defended its decision not to seek additional funding in the media budget review. Now, this is despite push to raise more funds to help meet demand for road projects and addressing rising unemployment situation. But speaking at the PricewaterhouseCoopers webinar on the media budget review, technical advisor to the Finance Minister, Dr. Tio Champon, says they are being strategic with their expenditure.
Also come down a little bit, but importantly, given that you're now the fiscal anchor and the fiscal targets are rightly within the right ballpark range, it gives us a bit more room to spend a little bit more on capital expenditure in the second half, of the year. So, as Minister indicated in the media budget, we did not go seeking a supplementary budget funding. We only recalibrated and realigned certain line items. One of the important ones being putting or allocating 5 billion Ghana cedi to support, the GANRAC program and then what Gold Board is doing, and then also setting under disbursed, foreign capital line items have also been reallocated or taken out of the budget, and we are spending a little bit of money also to support the acquisition of new fleet.
Technical advisor to the Finance Minister, Dr. Tio Champon, speaking at the PwC webinar on the media budget review. The Bank of Ghana has assured that it would move to ensure the needed laws are in place to help improve trust and integrity of the financial technology platforms in Ghana. The assurance follows recent reports of rising fraud in the digital space. Now, speaking at the EcoBank Joy Business Financial Dialogue Series, head of FinTech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Ray Kwasere, noted that this is very important to help improve financial inclusion in the country.
Every time there's a transaction happening, there's a promise that the funds is fully backed and redeemable. That promise is upheld through effective regulation. As digital finance grows, so too will standards we expect of it. Growth also brings new risk. Reported fraud cases rose by 48% in 2025. That is why the bank is strengthening supervision of digital financial services, maintaining high licensing standards, strengthening consumer protection, and building shared cyber resilience across the financial sector with our fellow financial regulators. We are not doing this alone. We will also continue to enforce those standards. Where institutions short of what is required to protect consumers and preserve confidence, the bank will act.
And that is head of FinTech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Ray Kwasere, speaking at the EcoBank Joy Business Financial Dialogue Series at the EcoBank head office in Accra today. Now, Chief Executive of the Water Authority, Edward Obeng-Kenzo, is making a strong case for reliable and affordable electricity as key driver to Ghana's economic development. Speaking at the 16th annual meeting of the African Power Pool, Mr. Kenzo said stable power supply remains critical in expanding industries in the region, including Ghana.
Africa must be bold in pursuing a balanced, clean energy future. Renewable energy can help expand access, improve affordability, and build resilience. While nuclear energy offers the prospect of reliable, low-carbon base load power to complement renewables, stabilizes grids, and support industrial growth. And this is where I would like, as a continent, we should also keep our focus to make sure at least we also get a clean, civil use of nuclear power. We have the resources in this country.
Chief Executive of the Volta River Authority, Edward Obeng-Kenzo. Now, GCB Bank has indicated that they will press ahead with measures that would help post the same sterling numbers for its first 6 months of this year in the coming months. Now, this was after the profit after tax of the bank hit 1.9 billion Ghana cedis for the first half of this year. Now, this was captured in an investor notice issued by the bank on its half-year results. The half-year numbers also saw some strong growth in all areas of the bank's operations for this year. Now, Carl Asset Management is attributing the strong numbers posted on funds and the various schemes that is handling to prudent management. The Carl Benefit Unit Trust and the Carl Advantage Unit Trust ended last year posting some significant jump in returns to investors. Speaking at the company's annual general meeting today, Madeleine Nate is the Chief Executive of Carl Asset Management Company Limited.
The collective investment schemes under the management of Carl Assets perform creditably. The Carl Advantage Balanced Unit Trust returned in excess of 32% on assets under management. This was achieved by carefully selecting assets into the portfolio of the fund in line with the objectives of the fund. Unit holders at the just ended annual general meeting affirmed their confidence in the fund manager for presenting to them the accounts of the fund and actively managing the portfolio of the schemes. For the Carl Benefit Unit Trust, it equally returned in excess of 19.7% to unit holders in the year 2025.
Malenete is the Chief Executive of Carl Assets Management Company Limited. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. Back to you, Kenneth and Gemma.
Thank you very much, George. Let's do sports now. Benaya is here. Hi, Benaya.
Hi, Gemma.
What's in
sports?
Sports?
Usually, George usually introduces sports. But since Arsenal lost the final and he told him small, now I stopped. He just said, over to you, Gemma, so that you do the introduction for me. All right, so in sports, Ghana's Benjamin Azamati has secured a place in the men's 100-meter final at the 2026 Commonwealth Games after finishing third in the semi-final just about 20 minutes ago. Now, the sprinter clocked 10.00 seconds to qualify as one of the two fastest losers, with only the top two finishers in each semi-final earning automatic qualification for the final. Now, African champion Manuel Isime of Cameroon won the first semi-final in a personal best of 9.90 seconds, while Wales' Jeremiah Azu claimed second automatic qualification spot. There was also a heartbreak, though, however, for Ghanaian record holder Abdul Rashid Saminu, who narrowly missed out on joining his compatriot in the final. So the final is going to happen at 8:15 p.m. tonight. Yeah, so we hope Benjamin Azamati adds to the medal for Ghana, because so far we've just won one at the Commonwealth Games with Zinabu Issa, the para-athlete, and another medal that's also assured for Ghana is bantamweight boxer Amadou Mohammed, who is also guaranteed a medal after qualifying to the semi-final earlier today.
Oh, so the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, the Commonwealth Games. Hopefully Azamati adds to it and we end up with 3 medals. That would be good news for Ghana.
Yes.
With other events still yet to happen, so we might end up winning more medals. Yeah, so that's it for sports.
Thank you very much.
It's now time for your say, and Noella Karen Yale is in the studio to bring us what you have been sharing with us on our social media platforms. Hi, Noella.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
I'm well. So our listeners have been, they have loads of messages to share with us.
Right.
Primarily, they've been reacting to the news about whether or not our president would be going for a third term. And Kwame and Kaneshi says, I'm wondering what this fuss about a Mahama third term bit is about. Why are people concerned about any such possibility? After all, even if he puts in a bid to run and the courts agree, isn't any successful bid to be determined by the electorate? If Ghanaians do not want him, they will not vote him in, period. This is much ado about nothing, unless, of course, those raising the imaginary red flags fear he might win again. Shouldn't that mean Ghanaians are satisfied with his previous tenure and desire him to continue? And those sentiments were shared by T Smart from Amasaman, who says, why is NPP so scared of Mahama, who was once described as a dead goat? And Sami from Isuachari, I don't know if I am murdering that name, Isuachari, right? Suchwari, right. Says, what is the problem of Nana B? Are they scared of JDM? Did he truly serve his 2-term as they claim he did? They should give us a break. Let's allow the Supreme Court to decide. And Comrade Issa Tanimu in Boko says, why do Henry Nanabuache and some members of the NPP now seem uncomfortable whenever a matter goes to court? When they were in power, going to court was their slogan. The NDC, on the other hand, has consistently accepted court outcomes in good faith and will remain consistent with that position, unlike the NPP, which tends to run down the court when judgments do not go in its favor. However, Ishmael in Ada disagrees with these sentiments. Says, good evening. Let us avoid the slippery slope. This third-term agenda must be nipped in the bud. History must guide us. And Susan Kuma says, please, President should run his due time and resign, so his good work will not be stained by the bad work he came to do. We love you, Mr. President. After your term, resign. And also reacting to other stories, we've got Prophet Wisdom from Agbogbomefia, who says Finance Minister and his government should inject money into the economy so that businesses can expand to create more jobs avenue for we the youth. In fact, NDC government has failed Ghanaians. Kwesine Kaswa says most often arrested able-bodied men die in police custody. Why? Have they been trained for that by their instructors? And Promise in Keta says, hey, 2 years in opposition, they are crying like this. The media budget they're claiming is empty is the same budget government is going to use to pay all workers, including them. And Albert from Adenta says, I think I now understand why our economy got bad under the Nana Addo Bawumia administration. If some of the voices I hear were the fine minds the government then was listening to. But let's listen to some of our listeners who shared voice notes with us.
Hello, good evening, News 9. It's your brother Ras Humility inside Agbogbomefia in the Volta region of Ghana. We Ghanaians are very happy that the ruling of the NDC government is better than the MPP government. So we Ghanaians are very happy for this NDC government. The John Mahama government should improve more so that we Ghanaians can cherish him more. Thank you.
My name is Jerry Lawrence, NDC MPP. An economy that has been depleted, almost collapsed by one government, and another comes. Won't that one fix the economy first before spending? Oh, and this MPP, which one are we going to follow now? Spending or not spending?
Right, Noella.
Right, so before I go, let me leave you with a light story, and I'm going to take you into the church of self-acclaimed prophetess Agrada.
Oh,
self-acclaimed.
So yeah, I mean, I wasn't there when God called her, so I can't say she's
It detains me a lot on the internet.
Right. So she was in church preaching, and then called for those who were interested to travel to come up, so she can pray for them, so they get favor, I guess, in traveling. And majority of the people who came forward were her instrumentalists. What ensues after? Listen.
If you want to travel, come forward. So all of you people want to travel. Come on, move away with your foolishness. Who will play the organ if you travel abroad? So all along, you always to travel out.
So that's Agrada, typical Agrada, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
so she wasn't going to prophesy.
No. I mean, who should go for you to? I mean, who should play the organ?
Yeah.
Maybe you, Kenneth.
They don't want to go.
Right? And no one is joining anybody. Charlie, so that's it for your say.
Thank you very much, Noella Karen Yalide. And that's it for News Night this evening. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
My name is Gemma Appiah.
Don't forget to do the 2 brush your teeth day and night with Pepsodent. It's now time for Geek Squad. That comes right after News Night, and Appiah is already in the studio. Hi, Appiah. What are we talking about?
Hi, Kenneth. Just last week, Samsung did their Unpacked event. And so tonight, we'll be breaking down everything that they have shared and what our listeners can gain from it for anyone who wants to buy any of the devices.
That should be interesting. Stay tuned.